All right, Jeremy, first, I want to thank you for your time today. I know it's definitely a crazy time of the year. I also know it was just your birthday. So tell me a little bit about your birthday week and how that went for
Yeah,
you out in Chicago.
yeah, for sure. So birthday week was in Chicago. I was invited, luckily, to the NBA Combine, so I was there for the whole week, and I did media, I had the lottery, and then of course I interviewed with teams. I didn't take part in the 5-on-5 or the shooting drills or any of that, but it was still a busy week. And yeah, my birthday was on the 20th. We had our pro day. I had a few interviews, and it was a fun day. And then I finished it off with a nice. We went to a nice spot, an Italian spot with the whole agency. So it was a great day.
Um, I'd love to hear a little bit from your perspective about how the combine went because you mentioned, you've been interviewing with teams while you were out there. The early reports are that you've been one of the best interviews teams have had. So, what are you telling them during these interviews that maybe might be standing out for them? Tell me a little bit about those conversations and how they've gone for you.
Right. I think first of all, this is the first time they're really gonna see you in an environment. So I feel like the most important thing, well, is to look good, to smell good, to act appropriately. I think that's an important thing, and even though you're not saying anything, I think it shows a lot. Just the way you act, your personality, and all of that. So I feel like I emphasize that as well. But then also just in these interviews, I wanted to be myself. Just stay true to myself and don't try and do too much or try and like mitigate and like not do a lot. So I feel like it was important for me to just be myself and not try force things.
I love that. I love that. As somebody who likes looking good and smelling good myself too, what are some of your
Right.
some of your strategies there? What are some of
Yeah.
is there any brands you go to? Anything you like to do in that sense?
I don't think there's any specific brands. I think it's just looking fresh, comfortable, and I feel like when you're comfortable with what you dress, I think that's when you look good, you feel the best, and I think that's the most important. So there's no crazy secret sauce or anything. It's just being yourself.
Obviously, a lot of teams are going to ask you about your playing style, and we'll get to that eventually. But tell me about like your style in general. Tell me about who Jeremy is as a guy. I would love to get a little bit more
Right.
from your perspective.
Right. I think I'm a guy, who's a sponge on the court and off the court. I feel like I see things, whether it's art, fashion, music, or anything really, and I'm like, okay, I like this. I can maybe implement this in what I do. Acting what like how I act, like in general, or just like clothing or shoes or anything that can affect me daily. I think I try and like look at. Um, be influenced and then also influence others. And I think it's a fun way to live. And I feel like I learned a lot from it. So yeah, just being free and just learning from others is important to me.
That's outstanding. And I know you recently told the Athletics' David Aldridge that you feel like you're like a citizen of the world. I know you've
Right,
got that international background, right? So tell me a little bit about how I mean, a lot of prospects haven't even left their home state before.
right.
Some of them are seeing the world for the first time during the pre-draft process. So for you, how has that maybe helped you and helped kind of develop and shape just who you are? And I think that teams are going to really notice that just with your maturity. I mean, you only turned 19 just last week and I
Right.
think you've already had a lot of life experience, right?
No, for sure. I think, my background's very unique. My mom's Polish, dad's American. I lived in England most of my life, but then also I played for the Polish national team while living in England. So we traveled all over Europe. We played in many countries in Europe. So I feel like all of that just helped me grow as a player, but also as a person, just being open to a load of different people, cultures, experiences. I feel like just helped me open my eyes and just have a bigger perspective on life. So I think it really helped.
Yeah, definitely. And I also know that you were the youngest player to ever play for the Polish national team at the
Right,
highest level. Obviously you did the youth level too. And
for
you were
sure.
playing like impact minutes as well.
Right.
Going against some of those, top international players and representing, that country. How was that able to maybe further your game? Because I think that's a huge thing for someone's development. We saw that with someone like Luca, obviously for
Exactly.
Slovenia. So tell me a little bit about how it might be for your case.
I think it's huge. I think just like the physicality, of course, is going to be different from a man's point and a youth's stage. So I think that really helped. And then also just like the level of the game, the IQ level, just reading plays, just being you have to be sharp at that stage. So just looking at other professionals and talking to them and being sponges and just learning from there really helped me, I think. And I think you can see now that it's really helped me, especially on the college level too. So it's been great.
Yeah, definitely. And, obviously having the experience in Germany, last year, I think also kind of, made that transition a little bit easier. So when you got to college, did you feel like maybe you had a little bit more confidence than some of the other freshmen just because you kind of seen that high level competition maybe before some of they did?
Right, I think so. I remember a few people would tell me like, college level is fast, it's physical, and of course, I'm not saying it's not. It is. It's very physical, especially the Big 12. But I feel like me experiencing Europe helped me with that, and I think Europe is a very physical game, and they don't really call a lot of fouls. So I think that really helped me, and I think it just made the adjustment a lot quicker and easier for me on the college level.
100%. And, one thing that I think stands out for your game statistically is that there were thresholds that you reached for like defensive rebounding, assists, blocks, steals, like just the diversity of your game that pretty much at the college level had only been reached by like Draymond, Robert Covington, I want to say like Jay Crowder, guys who are
Right,
playing valuable minutes in the NBA right now, but they all did it as seniors and you did it as a freshman. So
right.
tell me a little bit about the ways that you're able to impact the game from such a versatile standpoint, because I think that that's the thing that really stands out about your game for me is that it's not just one way. It's so many different ways, and they don't require you to have the ball in your hand to do it.
Right. I think it's just being versatile and being able to affect the team not only by scoring, rebounding or giving the having an assist. I think it's trying to find something else that you can do for the team and affect the game heavily. So I think for me, of course, defense is a main thing, but also just doing the little things that you can't really see on the box score or the stat sheet, and that's just deflections or whether it's jumping on the ball, a loose ball. And I think it's just that also helps the team, have that a little bit of leverage on the other team. So I think it's just being versatile and being ready to do anything for the team that's really important for me, and I think that's what I try and execute every game I play.
Definitely. And another thing that stands out for me too. I mean, you know your defense is strong. How do you think other teams shot against you when when you were the closest defender off the dribble? Do you have any idea, any guesses? If you were to have any guess,
Um,
if they tried to take Jeremy off the bounce, what do you think they were shooting?
right. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's too high.
It was 15%. You
Right.
you like they guys just could not beat you off the bounce. They could not beat you in isolation. One on one on the perimeter, wherever it may have been, like you were able to shut them down. So what is it
Right.
about your specific defensive intensity that makes it so hard for them to be able to score against you?
Yeah, I think it's just being active. I feel like for me, it's trying to be that disruptive player, like you said, the Draymond Greens, the Patrick Beverleys, the Jay Crowders. They have one thing in common, and that's just being irritating and just being long and athletic and disruptive. And I feel like that's what I try and show in my game and my defense. And I think it helps, get some players off rhythm, and I just try and execute that as well. So
Are, are you a talker the way they are?
at times, when I get into it, yeah, I will talk. I will talk, but sometimes you won't be able to see it, but I will be talking to the player. So yeah.
Do the players ever get surprised by the accents they hear from you?
Oh yeah, the amount of times they're like, "Okay, where you from?" I was like, "You did do your scout."
I
So
love
yeah,
that. I love that. And then,
yeah.
going to the other side of the ball, I guess I can ask you again, what do you think you shot at the rim this season, especially on like cutters?
Uh, it was, I think, maybe like around 60%,
It was
maybe
75.
75%.
75% at the rim and like 80% when you were doing like basket cuts. So
Right.
again, kind of asking you the same question, why was it so hard for the other team to stop you at the rim? Like what was it about your game that made it, such a force near the basket?
Right. I think first of all, I think just reading the defense and then also, knowing when to cut and when to finish around the rim. That's important. And, if you can see that, then I think that's, makes your game so much more efficient. And I think just, being able to finish with both hands, being athletic as well helps a lot with, finishing around the rim and off cuts. So I think that all helped.
I think that, you are one of the youngest players in the class, but you also, I think, could be a pretty immediate contributor. Would you agree with that? Are you someone that, even though you're young, you think you can come in and make like a high impact right away?
Definitely, I think personally I can impact the game tomorrow, and even watching these playoffs, I've watched it a little bit in real life, but also on TV, and I feel like just defensively, especially, I feel like I'll be able to impact the team straight away, and you can tell that this game, these playoffs especially, they've been really physical. It's been the little things that have changed games and made other players better. So. I feel like I'd be able to impact the game for sure.
I think you kind of saw it last year with Scotty Barnes coming off the bench in college and winning sixth man of the year in his conference. That's
Right.
something that you just did as well. Conference all freshman as well. And he
Exactly.
came in, took a step forward, and won rookie of the year. And I mean, I'm not sure if that's a goal of yours or not, or if you kind of have those sort of goals or expectations. But I think that you are somebody who I think could take a similar development next year, take another step
Right.
forward, and maybe even start more games in the NBA than you did in college potentially. So tell me about some of the ways that some of the things you'd have to do to get to that point, and what that would mean to you to get there.
Right. I think, to me, I always, trying to stay in the present and not think too ahead of myself, but also, not dwell on the past. So I think for me, it's just getting myself better every day for that next step. And I think, of course, offensively, just becoming even more versatile, more of a threat, getting my shot consistency up, and you know, becoming a better ball handler. I think is important. But I think all overall, I think I have a great chance to do great things and affect the team straight away. So anything can happen, and I'm not gonna limit myself, and I'm not gonna, you know, yeah, I'm just not gonna limit myself and see what happens. So I think what can happen is exciting, and I'm just gonna keep it that way.
What's maybe the most underrated part of your game? Because I think you mentioned a few of the things. I think your playmaking is something that stands out for me. Maybe you think your jump shot's better than it showed. What do you think is the most
Right,
underrated part of your game?
underrated. I
Hmm.
think I think definitely. Ooh, that's a good one. I think it's definitely for me personally. I feel like I'm a great passer. I feel like I'm a big guy who can average a lot of assists on the team. So I think it's definitely my playmaking. But then also I think my shot. I feel like this year didn't really show as well as much as like I do have the touch, I do have the shot. I think it's just becoming more consistent and showing people that. But definitely my playmaking.
And in terms of your jumper, I mean, are there anything in particular that you think you're going to be doing to make it like go in more often? Is there anything you need to work on, whether it's your release point, your footwork? Is there anything that stands out for that?
Right. I think it's the most important thing for me is to get addicted with the boring habits, keeping my shot the same, and repetition, 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 and keeping it the same, and you know, building up that muscle memory to make that shot perfect. I think is important. Um, but it's interesting when people say, I won't be able to shoot in the next level, or my free throw percentage isn't gonna get better. I know I shot like what was it, like 58% from the free throw and like 29% from the free, but I think that really underestimates what I can shoot on the next level. I know my mid range was great. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was better than those two, which doesn't really project that I will be a bad shooter. So I feel like for me, it kind of excites me and it makes me smile to prove people wrong that I can shoot and I can be that offensive threat. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I personally agree with that, and I think Herbert Jones shot 9% from three as a junior, 35% from three as a senior, and then by the time he was in
right,
the NBA, he was like a bona fide shooter. You're going to be 3, 4 years from that until you're the same age as where Herb is now. So,
exactly.
tell me a little bit about your desire to get better. Do you have that hunger that a lot of teams are looking for? Or do you have that like kind of grit where it's like I am going to get better at my jump shooting because I want it that bad?
Right. I think you just said it. I think I am gonna get better at it. I love work. I love getting better, getting tired. I think it's just me. I mean, I'm a morning person, so I go in the mornings. I don't know why I'm in the morning person. I just wake up. So definitely, I'm gonna get better every day, whether I'm with a team or not. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. And I also, know that earlier you mentioned things like art and fashion and, some of the other things that you take interest in. Tell me about some things you like to do when you're not playing basketball. What are some of the ways you
yeah,
like to fill your time?
yeah. It's funny. I was actually meant to go to the zoo today.
The zoo. I've done these prospect interviews a lot, and I've never heard someone mention the zoo even once. So
Yep.
why
I
were you
was
going to go to the zoo?
I don't know. I love animals, and I kept on seeing animal videos on Instagram, and I was watching I was watching like a journalist go to Congo like yesterday at night. So I was like, okay, it's time to go to the zoo, but it was raining, so I didn't do it. But hopefully, I can do it tomorrow or the next day. But I don't know. I just feel like nature, animals is real cool to me. I used to collect. I remember as a kid. I had a National Geographic subscription, and they would always have these little cards of animals, and I'd have like a massive folder and collect them all. So I feel like it's just really interesting to me. But I know, I mean, like I'm really open to different stuff. I love video games, movies, films, but then also like fashion, like you said, art, and yeah, nature and animals.
Are there any like artists that maybe stand out to you, whether it's music or visual art or anything like that, that have
Yeah.
maybe moved you one way or another, that you can think of?
Musically, I love Sampha. He's
Hmm.
like probably one of my favorite artists. He's an English artist,
Hmm.
like R&B kind of soul. He's great. He's one of my favorites for sure. And like art wise, I really like Dali.
Hmm.
His just art like really sings to me. So yeah, but I mean like I'm really open to everything musically, except from country, but everything else I listen to.
So
And
was that weird going to school in Texas then, knowing that?
yeah, a little bit. But I actually did buy some cowboy boots. I
Oh
do have
yeah,
some cowboy boots. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Do you have a favorite sneaker?
Oh, uh, dang. Um, probably the Nike Sakai's.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
they're my
cool.
favorite. Yeah, very cool. I had like two pairs. I have three pairs, but I want more. So yeah,
I
yeah,
love it. I love it. I mean, do you think? I mean, I think you kind of come off a little different than a lot of NBA draft prospects. You've got different interests in some of them. Do you think that's something that's going to help you not only during the pre-draft process, but also when you're in the NBA because maybe it makes you stand out and just kind of be something different that a team might remember.
I think so. I think it also. I feel like it doesn't only help me, but also other people and people who look up to me. I mean, I feel like I have, I do, but also when I get to the NBA, it's gonna be even bigger, and my impact off the court and on the court for like, kids, and I feel like just me being myself shows people, that you can be yourself. You don't have to fit no description. There is no like, a script to becoming, a basketball player, and it's just being yourself and being comfortable with yourself. So I think, uh, I think it will help me long term, and I think just being yourself is always important. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. That's a really great answer to that question. And one thing I'm also curious about, and this is not me asking about it. How many teams did not ask you about your hair over the last like has
uh,
anybody not brought it up?
I think everyone did so. Yep.
That's what I thought. That's what I
Right.
thought. That's got to be. I mean, it's gonna keep happening. I'm sure as you keep
Exactly.
doing these processes. So yeah,
Exactly.
man. It's kind of funny, honestly, just how every team can kind of come to the same, like, oh, like here it is.
Exactly. I don't mind it though. It's fun to talk to everyone and explain why I do it. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything else that you think would be good to mention for a story like this one, is to, maybe help, can further contextualize to a new fan base, like why
Yeah.
an NBA team is going to draft you, whether it's some of your motivations or whether it's some of your goals or whether it's just what you're going to bring to the floor?
I don't think so. I think it's just, showing my versatility on both sides of the court. I want to be that guy who's going to be irritating, who's going to be a defender. And just, I have a personality. I'm always going to bring positive energy to the organization, to the people of that city. And yeah, I'm just going to be there for them and, for my teammates, my players. And, I'm going to get better every day. So I think that's really it. I think we covered that. So it's great.
I think that's huge, man. I think that's kind of the most important thing these teams are looking for. It's just someone who's willing to get better and work hard. So you
Right.
clearly got the athleticism, you clearly got the skill set, now
Exactly.
it's just about what you do
Just getting
next. So,
better. Exactly.
and we'll talk again soon once you're in the NBA.
All right. Sounds good. That's exciting.
All right, be
All
easy,
right.
Jeremy. Thanks for your time.
Peace.